Okay, this is part 1 of Champion. San Francisco, California, Republic of America. Population 24,646,320. Day. Out of all the disguises I've worn, this one might be my favorite. Dark red hair, different enough from my usual white blonde, cut to just past my shoulders and pulled back into a tail. Green contacts that look natural when layered over my blue eyes. A crumpled, half-tucked collar shirt, its tiny silver buttons shining in the dark, a thin military jacket, black pants, and steel-toed boots. A thick gray scarf wrapped around my neck, chin, and mouth. A dark soldier cap is pulled low over my forehead, and my crimson-painted tattoo stretches all over the left half of my face, changing me into someone unfamiliar. Aside from this, I wear an ever-present earpiece and mic. The Republic insists on it. In most other cities, I'd probably get even more stares than I usually do because of that giant gaudy tattoo, not exactly a subtle marker, I gotta admit. But here in San Francisco, I blend right in with the others. The first thing I noticed when Eden and I moved to Frisco 8 months ago was the local trend. Young people painting black or red patterns on their faces, some small and delicate like Republic seals on their temples or something similar, others huge and sprawling like giant patterns of the Republic's land shape. I chose a pretty generic tattoo tonight because I'm not loyal enough to the Republic to stamp that loyalty right on my face. Leave that to June. Instead, I have stylized flames. Good enough. My insomnia is acting up tonight, so instead of sleeping, I'm walking alone through a sector called Marina, which is, as far as I can tell, the hillier Frisco equivalent of LA's Lake Sector. The night's cool and pretty quiet, and a light drizzle is blowing in from the city's bay. The streets are narrow, glistening wet, and riddled with potholes, and the buildings that rise up on both sides, most of them tall enough to vanish into tonight's low-lying clouds, are eclectic, painted with fading red and gold and black, their sides fortified with enormous steel beams to counter the earthquakes that roll through every couple of months. Jumbotrons 5 or 6 stories high sit on every other block, blaring the usual barrage of Republic news. The air smells salty and bitter like smoke and industrial waste mixed with seawater, and somewhere in there a faint whiff of fried fish. Sometimes, when I turn down a corner, I'll suddenly end up close enough to the water's edge to get my boots wet. Here, the land slopes right into the bay, and hundreds of buildings poke out half-submerged along the horizon. Whenever I get a view of the bay, I can also see the Golden Gate ruins, the twisted remnants of some old bridge all piled up along the other side of the shore. A handful of people jostle past me now and then, but for the most part the city is asleep. Scattered bonfires light alleyways, gathering spots for the sector's street folks. It's not that different from Lake. Well, I guess there are some differences now. The San Francisco Trial Stadium, for one, which sits empty and unlit off in the distance. Fewer street police in the poor sectors. The city's graffiti. You can always get an idea of how the people are feeling by looking at the recent graffiti. A lot of the messages I've seen lately actually support the Republic's new elector. "He is our hope," says one message scrawled on the side of a building. Another painted on the street reads, "The elector will guide us out of the darkness." A little too optimistic if you ask me, but I guess they're good signs. And it must be doing something right. And yet, every now and then, I'll also see messages that say, "The elector's a hoax," or "brainwashed," or "the day we knew is dead." I don't know. Sometimes this new trust between Andon and the people feels like a string, and I am that string. Besides, maybe the happy graffiti's fake, painted by propaganda officers? Why not? You never know with the Republic. Eden and I, of course, have a Frisco apartment in a rich sector called Pacifica, where we stay with our caretaker, Lucy. The Republic's gotta take care of its 17-year-old most wanted criminal turned national hero, doesn't it? I remember how much I distrusted Lucy, a stern, stout, 52-year-old lady dressed in classic Republic colors, when she first showed up at our door in Denver. "The Republic has assigned me to assist you boys," she told me as she bustled in our apartment. Her eyes had settled immediately on Eden. "Especially the little one." Yeah, that didn't That didn't sit well with me. First of all, it'd taken me 2 months before I could even let Eden out of my sight. We ate side by side, we slept side by side, and he was never alone. I'd gone as far as standing outside his bathroom door, as if the Republic soldiers would somehow suck him out through a vent, take him back to a lab, and hook him up to a bunch of machines. Eden doesn't need you, I'd snapped at Lucy. He's got me. I take care of him. But my health started fluctuating after those first couple of months. Some days I felt fine, other days I'd be stuck in bed with a crippling headache. On those days, Lucy would take over, and after a few shouting matches, she and I settled into a grudging routine. She does make pretty awesome meat pies, and when we moved here to Frisco, she came with us. She guides Eden. She manages my medications. When I'm finally tired of walking, I notice that I've wandered right out of Marina and into a wealthier neighborhood district. I stop in front of a club called the Obsidian Lounge, scored with a metal slab over its door. I slide against the wall into a sitting position, my arms resting on my knees, and feel the music's vibrations. My metal leg is ice cold through the fabric of my trousers. On the wall across from me, graffiti scrawled in red reads "Day" and "Traitor." I sigh, take a silver tin from my pocket, and pull out a long cigarette. I run a finger across the San Francisco Central Hospital text and print it down its length. Prescription cigarettes. Doctor's orders, yeah? I put it to my lips with trembling fingers and light it up. Close eyes, take a puff. Gradually, I lose myself in the clouds of blue smoke, waiting for the sweet hallucinogenic effects to wash over me. Doesn't take long tonight. Soon, the constant dull headache disappears, and the world around me takes on a blurry sheen that I know isn't only from the rain. A girl's sitting next to me. It's Tess. She gives me the grin I was so familiar with back on the streets of Lake. "Any news from the Jumbotrons?" she asks me, pointing toward a screen across the road. I exhale blue smoke and lazily shake my head. Nope. I mean, I've seen a couple of Patriot-related headlines, but it's like you guys vanished off the map. Where are you? Where are you going? "Do you miss me?" Tess asks instead of answering. I stare at the shimmery image of her. She's how I remember from the streets, her reddish-brown hair tied into a messy braid. Her eyes large and luminous, kind and gentle. Little baby Tess. What were my last words to her, back when we had botched the Patriots' assassination attempt on Andon? "Please, Tess, I can't leave you here." But that's exactly what I did. I turn away, taking another drag of my cigarette. Do I miss her? "Every day," I reply. "You've been trying to find me," Tess says, scooting closer. I swear I can almost feel her shoulder against mine. "I've seen you, scouring the Jumbotrons and airwaves for news, eavesdropping on the streets. But the Patriots are in hiding right now." Of course they're in hiding. Why would they attack now that Andon's in power and a peace treaty between the Republic and the colonies is a done deal? What would their new cause possibly be? I have no idea. Maybe they don't have one. Maybe they don't even exist anymore. "I wish you would come back," I murmur to Tess. "It'd be nice to see you again." "What about June?" As she asks this, her image vanishes. She's replaced by June with her long ponytail and her dark eyes that shine with hints of gold. Serious and analyzing, always analyzing. I lean my head against my knee and close my eyes. Even the illusion of June is enough to send a stabbing pain through my chest. Hell, I miss her so much. I remember how I'd said goodbye to her back in Denver before Eden and I moved to Frisco. "I'm sure we'll be back," I'd told her over my smile, trying to fill the awkward silence between us. "After Eden's treatment is done." This was a lie, of course. We were going to Frisco for my treatment, not Eden's. But June didn't know this, so she just said, "Come back soon." That was almost 8 months ago. I haven't heard from her since. I don't know if it's because each of us is too hesitant to bother the other, too afraid that the other doesn't want to talk, or maybe both of us are just too damn proud to be the one desperate enough to reach out. Maybe she's just not interested enough, but you know how it goes. A week passes without contact, and then a month, and soon too much time has passed, and calling her would just feel random and weird. So I don't. Besides, what would I say? "Don't worry, doctors are fighting to save my life. Don't worry, they're trying to shrink the problem area in my brain with a giant pile of medication before attempting an operation. Don't worry, Antarctica might grant me access to treatment in their superior hospitals. Don't worry, I'll be just fine. What's the point of keeping in touch with the girl you're crazy about when you're dying?" The reminder sends a throbbing pain through the back of my head. It's better this way, I tell myself for the 100th time, and it is. By not seeing her for so long, the memory of how we'd originally met has grown dimmer, and I find myself thinking about her connection to my family's deaths less often. Unlike Tess's, for some reason, June's image never says a word. I try to ignore the shimmering mirage, but she refuses to go away. So damn stubborn. Finally, I stand, stub my cigarette into the pavement, and step through the door of the obsidian lounge. Maybe the music and lights will shake her from my system. For an instant, I can't see a thing. The club is pitch black and the sound's deafening. I'm stopped immediately by an amorous pair of soldiers. One of them puts a firm hand on my shoulder. "Name and branch?" he asks. I have no interest in making my real identity known. "Corporal Schrauser, Air Force," I reply, blurting out a random name and the first branch that comes to mind. I always think of the Air Force first, mostly because of Cade. "I'm stationed at Naval Base 2. The guard nods. "Air Force kids over in the back left near the bathrooms. And if I hear you picking any fights with the Army booths, you're out and your commander hears about it in the morning. Got it?" I nod, and the soldiers let me pass. I walk down a dark hall and through a second door, then melt into the crowds and flashing lights inside. The dance floor is jammed with people in loose shirts and rolled-up sleeves, dresses paired with rumpled uniforms. I find the Air Force booths in the back of the room. Good. There are several empty ones. I slide into a booth, prop up my boots against the cushioned seats, and lean my head back. At least June's image has disappeared. The loud music sends all my thoughts scattering. I've only been in the booth for a few minutes when a girl cuts her way through the crowded dance floor and stumbles toward me. She looks flushed, her eyes bright and teasing, and when I glance behind her, I notice a cluster of laughing girls watching us. I force a smile. Usually, I like the attention in clubs, but sometimes I just want to close my eyes and let the chaos take me away. She leans over and presses her lips against my ear. "Excuse me," she shouts over the noise. "My girlfriends want to know if your day..." I've been recognized already. I shrink instinctively away and shake my head so the others can see. "You got the wrong guy," I reply with a wry grin, "but thanks for the compliment." The girl's face is almost entirely covered in shadows, but even so, I can tell she's blushing furiously. Her friends burst out laughing. None of them look like they believe my denial. "Want to dance?" the girl asks. She glances over her shoulder toward the flashing blue and gold lights, then back at me. This must be something her friends dared her to do, too. As I'm trying to think up some sort of polite refusal, I take in the girl's appearance. The club's too dark for me to get a good look at her, and all I see are glimpses of neon highlights on her skin and long ponytail, her glossy lips curved into a smile, her body lean and smooth in a short dress and military boots. My refusal fades on my tongue. Something about her reminds me of June. In the 8 months since June first became a princess-elect, I haven't felt excited about many girls, but now, with the shadowy doppelganger beckoning me onto the dance floor, I let myself feel hopeful again. "Yeah, why not?" I say. The girl breaks into a wide smile. When I get up from the booth and take her hand, her friends all let out a gasp of surprise, followed by a loud cheer. The girl leads me through them, and before I know it, we've pushed our way into the crowds and carved out a tiny space right in the middle of the action. I press myself against her. She runs a hand along the back of my neck, and we let the pounding beat carry us away. She's cute, I admit to myself, blinded in the sea of lights and limbs. The song changes, then changes again. I have no idea how long we're lost like this, and when she leans forward and brushes her lips over my own, I close my eyes and let her. I even feel a shiver run down my spine. She kisses me twice, her mouth soft and liquid, her tongue tasting of vodka and fruit. I flatten one hand against the small of the girl's back and pull her closer, until her body is solidly against mine. Her kisses grow more urgent. She is June, I tell myself, choosing to indulge in the fantasy. With my eyes closed, my mind still hazy from my cigarette's hallucinogens, I can't believe it for a moment. I can picture her kissing me here, taking every last breath from my lungs. The girl probably senses a change in my movements, my sudden hunger and desire, because she grins against my lips. She is June. It is June's dark hair that brushes against my face, June's long lashes that touch my cheeks, June's arm wrapped around my neck, June's body sliding against mine. A soft moan escapes me. "Come on," she whispers, mischief laces her words. "Let's go get some air." How long has it been? I don't want to leave because it means I'll have to open my eyes and June will be gone, replaced with this girl that I don't know. But she pulls on my hand and I'm forced to look around. June is nowhere to be seen, of course. The club's lights flash and I'm momentarily blinded. She guides me through the throngs of dancers, down the club's dark hallway, and out an unmarked back door. We step into a quiet back alley. A few weak spotlights shine down along the path, giving everything an eerie greenish glow. She pushes me against the wall and drowns me in another kiss. Her skin is moist and I feel her goosebumps rise beneath my touch. I kiss her back and a small laugh of surprise escapes her when I flip us around and pin her against the wall. She's June, I tell myself on repeat. My lips work greedily along her neck, tasting smoke and perfume. Faint static sizzles in my earpiece, the sound of rain and frying eggs. I try to ignore the incoming call, even as a man's voice fills my ears. Talk about a buzzkill. Hey, Mr. Wing, he says. I don't answer. Go away. I'm busy. A few seconds later, the voice starts up again. Mr. Wing, this is Captain David Guzman of Denver City Patrol 14. I know you're there. Oh, this guy. This poor captain's always the one tasked with trying to get a hold of me. I sigh and break away from the girl. Sorry, I say breathlessly. I give her an apologetic frown and gesture at my ear. Give me a minute. She smiles and smooths down her dress. I'll be inside, she replies. Look for me. Then she steps through the door and back into the club. I turn my mic on and start slowly pacing up and down the alley. What do you want? I say in an annoyed whisper. The captain sighs over the earpiece and launches into his message. Mr. Wing, your presence is required in Denver tomorrow night on Independence Day at the Capitol Towers Ballroom. As always, you are free to turn down the request as you usually do, he mutters under his breath. However, this banquet is an exceptional meeting of great importance. Should you choose to attend, we'll have a private jet waiting for you in the morning. An exceptional meeting of great importance? Ever heard so many fancy words in one sentence? I roll my eyes. Every month or so I get an invitation to some gaudy Capitol event like a ball for all the high-ranking war generals or the celebration they held when Andon finally ended the trials. But the only reason they want me to go to these things is so they can show me off and remind the people, look, just in case you forgot, Day is on our side. Don't push your luck, Andon. Mr. Wing, the captain says when I stay silent, as if he's resorting to some final argument. The glorious elector personally requests your presence. So does the princeps-elect. The princeps-elect. My boots crunch to a halt in the middle of the alley. I forget to breathe. Don't get too excited. After all, there are 3 princeps-elect, and he might be referring to any one of them. A few seconds pass before I finally ask, which princeps-elect? The one who actually matters to you. My cheeks warm at the taunt in his voice. June? Yes, Miss June Iparus, the captain replies. He sounds relieved to finally have my attention. She wanted to make it a personal request this time. She said she would very much like to see you at the Capitol Towers banquet. My head aches, and I fight to steady my breathing. All thoughts of the girl in the club go out the window. June has not personally asked for me in 8 months, and this is the first time that she's requested I attend a public function. What's this for? I ask. Just an Independence Day party? Why so important? The captain hesitates. It's a matter of national security. What's that supposed to mean? My initial excitement slowly wanes. Maybe he's just bluffing. Look, Captain, I've got some unfinished business to take care of. Try convincing me again in the morning. The captain curses under his breath. Fine, Mr. Wing, have it your way. He mumbles something I can't quite make out, then goes offline. I frown in exasperation as my initial excitement fades away into a sinking disappointment. Maybe I should head home now. It's time for me to go back and check up on Eden anyway. What a joke. Chances are he's probably lying about June's request in the first place, because if she'd really wanted me to go back to the Capitol that badly, Day? A new voice comes over my earpiece. I freeze. Have the hallucinogens from the meds worn off yet? Did I just imagine her voice? Even though I haven't heard it in almost a year, I would recognize it anywhere, and the sound alone is enough to conjure the image of June standing before me, as if I'd run across her by chance in this alley. Please, don't let it be her. Please, let it be her. Did her voice always have this effect on me? I have no idea how long I was frozen like this, but it must have been a while, because she repeats, Day, it's me, June, are you there? A shiver runs through me. This is real. It's really her. Her tone is different from what I remember, hesitant and formal like she's speaking to a stranger. I finally manage to compose myself and click my mic back on. "I'm here," I reply. My own tone is different too, just as hesitant, just as formal. I hope she doesn't hear the slight tremor in it. There's a short pause on the other side before June continues. "Hi," then a long silence followed by, "How are you?" Suddenly, I feel a storm of words building up inside me, threatening to pour out. I want to blurt out everything. I've thought about you every day since that final farewell between us. I'm sorry for not contacting you. I wish you had contacted me. I miss you. I miss you. I don't say any of this. Instead, the only thing I manage is, "Fine, what's up?" She pauses. "Oh, that's good. I apologize for the late call, as I'm sure you're trying to sleep. But the Senate and the elector have asked me to send this request to you personally. I wouldn't do it unless I felt it was truly important. Denver is throwing a ball for Independence Day, and during the event we'll be having an emergency meeting. We need you in attendance." "Why?" Guess I've resorted to one-word replies. For some reason, it's all I can think of with June's voice on the line. She exhales, sending a faint burst of static through the earpiece, and then says, "You've heard about the peace treaty being drafted between the Republic and the colonies, right?" "Yeah, of course. Everyone in the country knows about that. Our precious little Anton's greatest ambition, to end the war that's been going on for who knows how long. And so far, things seem to be going in the right direction, well enough that the war front has been at a quiet stalemate for the past 4 months. Who knew a day like that could come, just like how we'd never expected to see the trial stadium sitting unused across the country. Seems like the elector's on track to becoming the Republic's hero, yeah?" "Don't speak too soon." June's words darken, and I feel like I can see her expression through the earpiece. "Yesterday we received an angry transmission from the colonies. There's a plague spreading through their warfront cities, and they believe it was caused by some of the biological weapons we'd sent across their borders. They've even traced the serial numbers on the shells of the weapons they believe started this plague." Her words are turning muffled through the shock in my mind. The fog was bringing back memories of Eden and his black, bleeding eyes, of that boy on the train who was being used as a part of the warfare. "Does that mean the peace treaty is off?" I ask. "Yes," June's voice falls. The colonies say the plague is an official act of war against them." "And what does this have to do with me?" Another long, ominous pause. It fills me with dread so icy cold that I feel like my fingers are turning numb. The plague, it's happening. It's all come full circle. "I'll tell you when you get here," June finally says. "Best not to talk about it over earpieces."